Now imagine, if you can, that a family member has died, but you're just so poor you just can't pay for burial costs, so the body is just left in a public morgue. Well, it's the situation in Benin where deplorable conditions in morgues are causing a public health crisis. Officials there reporting a rising number of abandoned corpses as poverty-stricken families, already indebted by hospital fees, are unable to pay for burial costs. Well, as France 24's Emmanuel Soji reports, some 2,000 corpses believed to be stored in unhygienic conditions across the country.
From the outside, it's hard to imagine that corpses have been holed up inside this building. But the nauseating stench emanating from the area leaves little doubt.
Les morgues avec les hommes, ça fait peur, non? Ça doit faire peur.
We're living next to the dead. It's frightening. We're neighbours and we can't do anything about it. It's illegal. But I don't know what kind of agreement they've made with the ministry. It's up to the authorities to intervene.
Qui pouvait intervenir?
We make our way to Zakapoto district, known as the bastion of traditional morgues in the south of Benin. After following this car, seen here in the distance, we discover another illegal structure. In total, around 10 still exist, hidden from view, despite being banned since 2014. This family is looking for a relative who died 2 months ago.
I prefer this morgue because here they preserve the bodies well. This is the third time we've entrusted them with a loved one, because they're good.
Before we're allowed to film, the employees rush to tidy up.
They're arranging the bodies that had been left outside to dry.
We're accompanied by MÉDARD Koudebi, a Franco-Beninese specialist on funeral hygiene. For 5 years, he's been alerting the authorities on the disastrous state of morgues in Benin.
This is where they wash the bodies and dry them.
All the corpses are dried in the sun and sprayed with powder. The staff have made them ingest petrol or Koudebi, a strong, locally made alcohol.
The health risk is enormous because each of these bodies died of a contagious disease. A disease that can kill someone else. Precautions have to be taken to protect the environment and the health of people who work here.
In 2014, in the midst of the Ebola epidemic, the whistleblower managed to close down 83 traditional morgues to avoid any risk of contagion. Today, morgues have flourished in poorer areas. According to the latest official figures, some 70 such buildings exist today. In town, the official morgues are hardly any better. We made our way inside Cotonou Public Hospital morgue with a hidden camera. Initially built to accommodate 50 cadavers, today several hundred bodies are piled up in cold stores commonly used by fishmongers. The refrigerated storage unit is out of order.
As we no longer have any room in the cold storage compartments, we have to leave the bodies in cold rooms. Here in the cold rooms, we have to mix the bodies together. We even make piles a meter high. Normally in other countries, this doesn't happen. We work in inexplicable situations.
The morgue, the Council of Cotonou, has dug a 4th mass grave in Sommet, about 15 kilometers from the city centre public hospital. All abandoned dead bodies are buried here. The putrid stench is unbearable.
2 weeks ago, we could still identify the human bodies in the pit. Can you see the flies? With the humidity, the bodies are decomposed. They've come to kill us.
There's no running water in the vicinity, and residents fear the contamination of the wells.
This is the quality of water we draw from the well. Can you see how it's contaminated? The mass graves are not deep enough. They buried the bodies only half deep. Day in, day out, we fear the water will be poisoned.
No service exists to collect abandoned corpses from private morgues. If families can't afford to collect them, they stay indefinitely at the mortuary. This private undertaker sees it as a profitable and growing sector. He's currently expanding his business to become an entrepreneur in the death industry. Before, he was a frozen food salesman.
We weren't making any profit. Nothing was going right. I thought, if I know how to conserve poultry and fish, why not also humans?
Till today, there are no laws to regulate this industry. 95% of the private morgues resort to using fishmongers' freezers.
Before getting into this, we went through the relevant public services. People from the Ministry of Health came. We couldn't have known that we weren't up to standard.
The government's working on a bill to regulate the death industry, despite pressure for the law to never see the light of day. Politicians and their families own 2/3 of private morgues. Rear wing of this cemetery, half the skulls have disappeared. Long gone are the days when the dead could rest in peace.